This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Monday night show, Beach Talk Radio. Ed Ryan here, Kim Ryan there. I'm wearing the blue, she's wearing the yellow, in case you were wondering who's who. So just a couple of quick updates before we get to our first guest from the Cigar Hut. Stephen Light is in the green room right now. There will be no show after tonight until Friday because I will be out of town, and then the wife will be out of town. And so we're going to hold off until Friday. And then when we come back Friday, we'll be at the new Mangaritas, which is located at 16440 South Tamiami Trail, or Route 41. It is the old Rhythm House, and it becomes Mangarita Rhythm House on Wednesday, and we'll be there on Friday. Then Saturday, back to Wahoo Willie's, our new home location for the Saturday morning show. We'll be at 11 o'clock. That's our new time and our new location. We have guests lined up, and we'll share those with you throughout the rest of the week. Saturday night, Mayhem at the Man Caves. We've been telling you all about that the last few weeks. So we'll have that Saturday night, which I'll be emceeing, and we have music, and they're raising money for FMB Strong. So a lot of things are going on. Before the Mayhem at the Man Caves, there's also something at the Kiwanis. They're doing an event at the Kiwanis.
Is this on?
Yes, it is. And La Ola, a food truck, will be there on Saturday.
You're going to be really busy.
Yeah.
Without
I don't mind being with the people. I'm a man of the people, dear. I don't know if you knew
have
that.
to take care of the dogs, though.
I'm a man of the dogs and a man of the people. So speaking of the people, after checks went out today, we have now given out $100,500 to employees that lost their job during the hurricane, and more checks will be going out this week as we work our way down the list. And we have also put by the way, the shirts. I don't think I explained this as much as I probably should have the last few days when we were talking about the shirts. The shirts are $30 if you're picking it up and $35 if we need to ship them. But that doesn't mean you can only give $35. If you give 70 or you give 100 or whatever the number is, we're tacking that on to this employee fund that we're trying to get all the money out to. So whatever extra that you give stays in that. This isn't like a merch sale for the two of us. That's the coffee thing. But this goes right into the employee fund. So any shirts that you buy, once we pay off the bill to the printer, the rest of the money is going into this fund. So we are putting that on pause until we can get everybody their shirts out. We have so many orders, and we don't want to get so backlogged that people get pissed off. We want to make sure that we get all the shirts that we have been mailed. Now we're just waiting to pick up a new batch on Wednesday, a new batch on Friday, and then order more shirts. So am I talking too much for you?
You're talking a lot.
No.
I want to thank everybody for their care and concern on Saturday or on Sunday. Did you clip that yet?
No.
For those of you who don't know, I rode the bike on Sunday down from the Women's Club south, and then I came back to the Women's Club and went a little bit north past there. And when I was starting out, I was holding the selfie stick because I'm left-handed in this hand and driving the bike with this hand. And I don't know, the selfie stick let go of my phone. And so it hit the ground. Thankfully, this one didn't break because that's my second phone. But I felt bad for the people that were watching because I'm sure they were like,
yeah, people were saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because they thought you fell off the bike.
Yeah. But it was just
phone fell.
Falling off bikes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a possibility that could have happened.
Yeah, there's a long story behind those things.
Just the selfie stick. So, but thank you for your concern instead of, hey, get up and start taping again.
We were watching that. I think it was Saturday night. We were watching over and over again about how it looked like people thought you fell, but it was the phone.
And I met, some wonderful people while I was out on my ride about, and just the stories. I mean, I won't go into it, but the stories are so harrowing for these folks who stayed down there, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we'll find a way to get that together to whoa.
Well, your headphones were on, but they weren't plugged in.
Yeah.
So no, Diane, she had the GoPro on her helmet. She had the GoPro on. The plan was to use the GoPro.
So the thing with the GoPro is, yes, I had it a little bit up. I had it. I practiced with it. But the thing is, when you get down there, and the Wi-Fi is getting better down there, but I have to use the hotspot on the phone so that the GoPro will go through, and it worked at home, but it didn't work when we got down there. So hopefully we're going to get it straightened out.
Right. So
it's definitely Ed's problem.
The next, I know Steven's waiting, so we want to get him on. A couple of quick things. The fee, the town council today, and we'll talk more about this with Dan when he comes on at 6:30. But the fees for the permits were suspended today. You do not have to pay for your permit until January 17th. What the town council did today was they piggybacked onto the fire department's fee waive, which started October 17th and runs for 90 days. So I did the quick math, and January 17th will be when you have to start, or they could extend it from there. But that's the original plan, is for no fees for the permits for the first 90 days, October 17th through January 17th. The second thing is the Save the Beach School. That's the next project. And they are having an organizational meeting on Wednesday at 6:00 at the Skip One building. That's the building that they had the town council meeting at, that there was no Wi-Fi, if you remember that. It's Wednesday at 6:00. So if you're a parent, or if you're a teacher, or if you're somebody that works or will work on the beach, and you planned on bringing your kid to that school, you'll want to go to this meeting on Wednesday, because they're organizing for the school board meeting, which is November 22nd, and they want to have as many speakers for that November 22nd meeting. So go to the Wednesday meeting, and you'll get all the information from the folks that are organizing.
Well, it's not just people that have kids in the school. It's people who care about the community and maintaining that as part of the community. So everybody should go.
I think that this destruction of the school has given the school board an opportunity to say, look, you only have 50 kids in the school, and so maybe we should think about not rebuilding it. And you may recall, although there was no internet at the time, that school board member Chris Patrica did come to the town council meeting and said that school will be rebuilt, or will open again, whether it was for the, just for rebuilding it or constructing a brand new school. She did basically commit the school board to doing that. I was sitting there when she said it, and I texted her last week, and she said no decision has been made yet to close that school. So that's not as solid as it was at the town meeting, but it's also not solid that it will close. So attend those meetings if you can, if you're concerned about the school. And there's Steven. It looks like we got some spotty internet, but hopefully we can hear him fine. Steven, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you, but that's my sound. I turned my sound down. Let's try it again. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. You're loud and clear. So, Steven, okay. You own the Cigar Hut, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So tell us a little bit of the history of the Cigar Hut.
Well, the Cigar Hut started in 2000. We were in Times Square, right next where Anita had Locomotion. That was an empty lot, parking lot. And believe it or not, Wahoo Willie's was next door. They were in there, and Nick, the current owner of Wahoo Willie's, was the owner then as well. And I worked out a deal with the owner of the property to put a hut literally in that parking lot, because they had just created Times Square. They shut off. They used to drive through Times Square with vehicle traffic, and the town decided, the town was young then. It was just a town for a short time, and they decided to close off Times Square for vehicle traffic and make it pedestrian only. So the owner of the property had an empty lot that was a parking lot that could no longer be used. So he was trying to get that rezoned to build what became Anita's store eventually. But in the meantime, he allowed me to put a small cigar hut literally in the parking lot. And that's where we started. We had very humble beginnings. And we were there for 3 seasons. And then we moved over to our prior location on Estero Boulevard. We were there for 20 years. And, we now we're, of course, back across to Wahoo Willie's, our old neighbors.
Well, you turned sideways. I don't know how that happened, but what people might not know is when you said your previous location, that location was the building that was in front of what will be Margaritaville. It was that building they were trying to save. That's the one that you were in before this whole sale to Margaritaville, and then the whole storm just basically taking out that building there. So now you're on Old San Carlos across from Wahoo Willie's, and from some of the pictures that we saw the water basically engulfing SOB, which is really, you're kind of not very far from SOB. Yet miraculously, you are able to open. So what happened first to your product throughout the storm? Were you able to save any of the product? Oops. You have to unmute your phone there. I think I might just go back to the old-fashioned way and give you a call. So why don't you hang up there, and I will give you a call, and we'll do it that way so people can hold on.
Information, but I don't know much about cigars. No. So I will read one of our letters, and you're just throwing them at me left and right. Dear Beach Talk Radio, thank you so much for all you have done for the residents of beloved Fort Myers Beach. For us, it is a place of relaxation. Years of the memories and a place we long to be during cold Indiana winters. We are not quite old enough to be snowbirds yet, but nevertheless, we love Fort Myers Beach and the people we've met there over the years.
Stephen, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
No worries. We can hear you loud and clear now on the phone.
Ed tries to do this, but I think it's better this way.
Yeah, I think some people, giving the video a shot is always worth it. People like to see others and not just us. So, Stephen, we were saying that we saw the water up above SOB, and you're down the street from them. So, how were you able to save any of your product, or how did the product at the location? Sounds like most of it was probably damaged early on, right?
Sure. During the storm, there was somebody staying across the street in the Harbor House condominiums over there, and they had taken a picture and sent it out kind of at the beginning of the storm, and it showed basically our building pretty much completely engulfed in water. And but in the end, we had 8 feet of water inside the store, and of course we're up. We have a deck and we're up, so there was quite a huge storm surge. And what happened with us was, the water had risen and the building was intact, but we had a floor joist from somewhere go through one of our windows, including plywood, and it just burst open while the water was high, and the water just rushed into the store, kind of like Niagara Falls flowing in, and it literally destroyed pretty much everything in the store. It looked like a bomb went off.
So you weren't able to pack up stuff in advance and save some of your product?
No, like everybody else, we kind of, not that we took the storm lightly, but we until Tuesday morning, we were all thinking the storm was going to be heading further north, and we were going to be getting part of it, but it just didn't leave anybody with any time. And we were here for Hurricane Charlie. We were in the Estero Boulevard location, and we had time for Charlie to board up, to get product out, and all that. But for this storm, it just seemed like it kind of caught most people, I guess, off guard, if you want to call it that.
So you guys were there quickly doing work. I mean, as soon as the day or two after, when I was down there taking pictures, you had people with you cleaning up, and you were thinking you can get open, and it was amazing how quickly it happened. So you were right on top of it.
We were see if there was any product we could salvage, and there was. We had a shelf that was high enough up that had product on it that was above the water line. But the goal was to get in there as quick as possible, to open it up, to try to get that out, and to try to just clean up and, reduce the possibility of more mold growing and all that kind of stuff in there. So we got in there the day after the storm, and then of course we were locked off the island like everybody else for I don't know what it was, 7 days or so.
Yep.
And then we were right back that first day. I saw you down at the transport area when we had to take the bus.
Yeah. That was one day.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you just have, I know, obviously you have cigars. What else do you have? And then I don't know anything about cigars, so maybe you can enlighten us a little bit on that.
Well, we're a full service tobacco store. We carry 95% of our product is hand rolled cigars, premium hand rolled cigars. We do offer cigarettes for some people, that small selection of cigarettes and vape products and pipe tobacco and cigarette tobacco, rolling tobacco, cigarette papers, lighters, and ashtrays, any accessories related to cigar smoking. And we have a very nice selection of cigars. We have if not the top selection in Lee County, certainly in the top one or two stores. And we get all the best stuff. People on vacation love to smoke cigars. They relax with that. They're on the beach. They have, make that part of their travel. Not everybody, but.
So where do the cigars come from? Like all over the world? Like where are they?
Actually, they do. The cigars have a blend of leaf inside the cigar, and those leaves come from tobacco plants, which are grown all over the world. Predominantly, they come from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and Honduras, but there's actually leaf in there from Connecticut, USA, Cameroon, Africa, Indonesia, Brazil, Colombia. So they come from all over the world.
Is it legal? Is it legal to have cigars from Cuba?
No. The embargo is still in place, so nobody in the United States is allowed to sell any Cuban product. That embargo has been in place since Kennedy put it in back in 1961 or 2.
Got it.
That was. So.
Pierre, have you ever smoked a cigar?
Never.
Yeah.
What is the percentage man to woman who smokes cigars?
I would say that it's okay. So smoking cigars is probably 90% men and 10% women, but actually buying cigars is a different story, because we have a lot of women that come in that buy cigars for their husbands, their boss, somebody who's watching their dog while they're on vacation, that kind of thing, their brother. So, but there's a fair amount of women that actually do smoke cigars.
Now,
how much does a box of cigars go for? Or do people buy them like one at a time? Like, is it a lollipop?
They do. Yeah, they do buy them one at a time, but they also buy them by the box. And we had a huge selection of boxes, and they range in price for a good quality. These are hand rolled cigars. These are not Swisher Sweets or anything like that. They're made from all natural tobacco. They're handmade. It takes years to roll a cigar, make a cigar, and like fine wine, it's a very good way to compare a cigar. Yes, absolutely.
My aunt is watching. She's apparently
your own.
Yeah, he's got a cigar issue, a cigar problem, a habit. Maybe that's not a problem.
Are we talking thousands
of dollars?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that to get into a nice quality hand rolled cigar at the low end would be about $5. Which is still decent quality, but they go all, in our store, our highest price cigar was probably around $35 to $45.
A pop.
But
Cigar.
the average cigar runs about $8 or $9, $10. So if you have a box of 20 cigars, $10 a cigar, that's $200 for a box.
So, Stephen, when you first, you got, obviously your structure got approved, or you wouldn't be open. So you get to go ahead for the structure, and you're cleaning it out like mad. And so, where did you order a bunch of product, and tell us about how the inventory is?
Well, inventory, because actually 10% of our inventory is a large amount because we had such a huge inventory. Most of my inventory I have put away off the beach at a safe location, waiting to bring back down when we really start to see more people. And we've still got a little bit of work to do, even though we're open. We've got some shelving to put up. We've got a few more things to do. So once we get that sorted out, I'll be bringing product down. And I've worked it out now. UPS is finally, as of Friday, this past Friday, delivering, so I can get product in now through the normal channels, which is great. So once we have a need to bring a lot of stuff down, we won't have any problem doing that. And it's probably going to, looking realistically, maybe toward, Christmas,
Yep.
that area to be pretty much, fully operational.
Now, do the cigars have to be held at a certain temperature and humidity and all of that?
Come on, everybody knows that. Come on.
I don't know if everybody knows that.
Thank
They
you.
like humidity. They do like
Really?
humidity.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. And so 70% humidity is perfect for a cigar, which makes Florida and Fort Myers Beach the perfect place to keep cigars.
So, Stephen, will you ship cigars if there are folks out there? We have a lot of people that don't live on the beach. Well, there are a lot of people that don't live on the beach. They're not drugs, dear.
Well, I don't know.
No, they're perfectly legal to ship, and we do ship. We ship all over the world. We have a lot of Canadian customers, people from across the United States that have actually come into our store, and we ship to them. So yes, we do shipping.
So how can people go on your website and see what the selection is right now if they wanted to buy some product?
Well, we were just in the process of upgrading our website before the storm, and I think that's gotten put on the back burner for now. And actually, even our phone number we don't have a phone there now, so they can email me or call me on the cell phone. But we'll be up and running with the phone very soon.
Yeah,
just got to get Comcast in to get that set back up again. I don't know if they're able to do that yet or not, but it'll be coming soon.
Why don't you share your people are asking about the website, but why don't you share your emails so people can reach out to you directly?
cigarhutfmb@gmail.com.
Nice and easy. cigarhutfmb@gmail.com. If anyone wants to type it in the chat box, have at it there. Stephen, why do people clip off the ends of cigars? What is the purpose for that? Is it like a stinky part of it, or something wrong with it, or is it deformed, or what's going on with that?
On one end, they keep one end cut straight, and they put a cap on the other end, and that's for aesthetic purposes generally. So when you go to smoke it, you have to remove that little cap. It's just actually a little piece of leaf, and so you can draw through the length of the cigar. No, cigars again, it's a palate thing. That's why there's so many different leaves and so many different blends. You bring the smoke into your mouth and blow it out. You taste it, and that's it. You don't bring it into your throat. You don't bring it into your lungs. It's a completely different way of smoking than, say, cigarettes, where cigarette smokers bring smoke directly into their lungs. So you have a longer. It takes longer to absorb the nicotine through your tongue, say, through your palate. So you don't get a big high or rush when you smoke a cigar, but you do. Over the length of the cigar, you just get a nice, relaxed, generally mellow feeling that's very comfortable.
Sounds like a song. So, did you go to like cigar school, Stephen, or did you? I mean, how did you learn all this stuff, or did you just pick up on it on Google, or
did you go to Nicaragua?
No, I've been to Nicaragua. I've been all over the different cigar companies throughout the years. But I've learned. I got it. That's another Ed. That's another segment, because how I got into the cigar industry is quite interesting. But let's just say I jumped into it not knowing much about it, and I was actually in it a few years before I opened up the store doing wholesale. And I've learned over the years basically everything so that I know, and it's been a wonderful experience. And when the storm hit, there wasn't a thought in my head to quit. So
Right.
it was just, I love doing it. Love the customers, love the beach, love the people, and it was like, okay, what do we need to do to get this thing back up and running?
It's so cool because you're the first two places other than Bayside Bistro or Bayfront Bistro. I keep saying the wrong thing. You and Wahoo Willie's right across the street from one another. It's like that part of the area down there is going to be the first, location, a bunch of locations that are open. It seems like Snug and Nervous Nellies, their structures are okay, and they're going to be able to open whenever they can get their equipment and everything cleaned out. So it is going to be the spot to be until they can figure out what to do at Times Square. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was becoming kind of the entertainment district, before the storm. The town, as you know, just opened up the park down there, and Wahoo Willie's was just about ready to open, which was going to be great. And so it was heading in that direction. But of course, you're right. Now that things have changed, it's going to be the Strip. I mean, there's not much left on Estero, as you know.
Right. How has business been so far? I mean, we've been trying to let people know you're open, and I'm sure people that are driving around see you're open. So people coming in to see you?
Oh yeah, and I'll have to tell you, Ed, I have people come in, and we'll ask them, oh, did you just happen to come down to the beach? Oh, we heard you were open on Beach Talk Radio. So
ding, ding, ding for us. Look at that.
It's getting out there.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I think people from the community, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, they really want to support the beach.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just been great that way. And, we're not busy like we should be this time of the year, but hey, any little bit helps, and I'm happy. We've got people coming in, and well, you were there Saturday. You saw there were quite a few people wandering around down there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations for being open, and just keep us posted on, if you get new product in or anything, you need a little push, just give us a call, and we're happy to let people know.
Will do. And thank you so much for everything you've done for the beach. It's so much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Steven,
take care.
Cigar, they are open on Fort Myers Beach, right across the street, Old San Carlos Boulevard, from Wahoo Willie's, our new Saturday morning home location.
When you were a kid, did they have candy cigarettes? Remember those candy cigarettes?
I think they did, but it wasn't my thing. Fake cigarettes, real cigarettes.
In what world?
How does a cigar make you think about candy cigarettes? I'm not following.
In what world would it be okay to sell cigarettes in candy form to kids? It just was a bad.
Oh, they still sell those?
No, I think there's like funny places that you can get them, like those little dots on the thing. But
right.
I remember us doing that as kids. What a bunch of ding dongs.
Cigarette companies, right? Start them out on cigarettes as candy, and then now they think they're cool. I know you guys are seeing that John Heim is on there typing, and we're just going to let him go. You guys know what the deal is with John if you've been around for a while, so just let him go. The water is bad. I mean, we can't disagree with him on that. The water is bad, but so the Beach Baptist
candy cigarette.
The Beach Baptist, by the way, is having a Thanksgiving dinner on the 24th, which is Thanksgiving Thursday. I am going to that. It's going to be a community Thanksgiving dinner at 3:00. That's when they do need some financial donations for that. And you can help out Sean, Pastor Sean at the Beach Baptist by going to beachbaptist.org. Help them out as much as you can. If you're looking for another place to donate some cash, to help them out with Thanksgiving. They're also looking for some demolition help. They need some demolition equipment donated. They're looking for 2 bulldozers, a bobcat for 7 days, some dumpsters, because they want to knock down that building, I believe. Let's see. The church has been there for blah, blah, blah. They do not qualify for a lot of aid, so donations from charities and government corporations are needed. So again, we hope to see you out on Thanksgiving at the Beach Baptist, which we were over there for a little while, but it was just so hammered. A lot of those buildings, like it looked like the Chapel by the Sea too is totally destroyed. I don't know how these buildings are going to be rebuilt other than with community donations and help like that. So
Yes, John, you're not letting any cat out of the bag there, friend. Everybody
knows we're a
knows we're not.
gateway, John.
Yes,
I'm going to
everybody
have an
knows.
argument with you. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to introduce our second guest, and he is now known as the mayor of Fort Myers Beach. There he is. You know, you become the mayor, you have to get a pair of librarian glasses. Otherwise, you know, you're just regular Joe.
Yeah, I don't know what I need, but these are what were available.
So,
Wait, Buttonwood, are they just readers or what?
No, Megan, I think she buys the 5-pack from Amazon.
Yeah.
So, you lose them faster than you get them. And
Exactly.
At the end of the day, in the beginning of the morning, it seems that I need them. During the middle of the day, I don't. But
yeah,
that's all right.
Today was the first town council meeting for the new council. How do you think it went?
Well, I mean, I fumbled a little bit. I wish I would have done a little bit better job, quite honestly. But I think, it was probably what was expected. I think nothing really happened that anyone that's been paying attention wouldn't see coming. I think the town manager turning in his resignation the night before was something unexpected. I didn't expect to see that, but we made our way through it. It got a little clumsy there, in my opinion, a little bit, but we worked our way through it and we moved forward.
Actually, I thought the meeting went very well. Once you got past trying to figure out,
and he's very critical, so I think that should hold some weight.
I've been telling people that called, and I just think once you got past trying to figure out how to have somebody in charge of the government following the resignation, which it wasn't an easy thing to figure out. Thankfully, Jim Steele was there, and he's been in that position before. He's been on the audit committee, so he's got some financial background, which is always great, especially now. Can you kind of take us through? We know Jim Steele is going to be the interim manager for at least 1 week, and he's doing it for free. What is your plan? You've got some kind of plan that you're going to implement, or the council will implement, but you're really behind the plan. So what is it?
Well, so yeah, I've been, as I said in the opening that I read, that, I've been talking with the different agencies in the background to figure out what we can do to make things work a little bit smoother, to everybody needs help and you have to ask for it. So I started asking for it. People offered to come in and help. Obviously, in an interim basis, we need to find a long-term solution to our town manager position to bring us through the next couple of years of rebuilding and into the future. So it's going to take someone energetic, but we need someone in place now that is very, very financially strong, that's managed large budgets, that's dealt with crises like this. I believe the people that will come in and speak with the council and give them their perspective, that they'll see that these gentlemen have a plethora of experience. They're very knowledgeable. They're very clear that this is an interim thing to get us to the next step. They're willing to help us get to that next step. So it's a resource that I think we should take advantage of. And
so Dan,
and get us
I don't
going
mean to interrupt, but can you be more specific? Do we have somebody from the League of Cities that's going to come in on a temporary basis while you do a national search? What's lay it out for the people so they see the inside baseball action? What's going on here?
Yeah. So these gentlemen were referred through the state and through the league as potential candidates that could step in at a minute's notice and be willing to help. So in my conversations with them, asking if there was a change that was made today, if they'd be available to come in and talk to us. They said they would be available as early as today, should
Cool.
we need them to step in and start helping. Obviously, as I said, that this is a very important time, that we need someone that's been through something similar, something this catastrophic. We need to know people. We need to know that the people that are making the decisions have been through it. They know the ins and outs of working with the federal government and the state government to get as much as we can back as fast as we can. With a town of $21 million budget, that doesn't go very far, especially with the debris cleanup. So these guys are very, very well versed in that. I've spoken to them several times. They're on their way down.
Oh,
They
okay.
will
is
be
it a
here.
group? It's a group of guys that you're going to interview and pick one,
No,
or
well, so it's kind of a package deal. I
okay,
spoke with the first gentleman, who is willing to help, but referred me to the second gentleman who they work together, and so they know each other in and out. So they're gonna work together for the first month or so or two to kind of get us through it, and then one will take over and kind of lead us. Hopefully, my hope is within 6 months we can find, our replacement, our final person that can lead us to the future, and work with these people to because not everybody has every answer, right? Not everybody has every. We all have deficiencies. We all have
yeah.
things that we're not strong in. But right now, it needs to be a strong leader, and it needs to be someone that can communicate with the people that work below them, and it needs to be someone that is very, very smart on making sure that we spend our money wisely, and that we recoup all the money that we do spend, or as much of it as we can.
So will these guys that are coming in, is that part of the Florida League of Cities insurance, or are we going to have to pay them? Or are you going to have to pay them? We don't
Yeah,
live
be
there.
careful. Make
Well,
sure we do not
well,
live down there.
and that my guess is that it's a separate contract. I mean, I don't think that Florida. I haven't spoken to anyone from the Florida League of Cities, so I highly doubt it. I'm guessing that this will be an expense to the town, but progress costs some money, and anybody that's ever been in business knows you have to spend some money to make some money. So we're
Well,
kind of
the
in that
cost of
process.
not doing it right, the cost of not doing it would far outweigh the cost of doing it right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to make sure, it's a small window, as we know. We've all heard there's a small window to get this, uh, you know, to get reimbursed for a lot of things that are going on in the town. So we need to make sure that we have people in place that can be efficient, uh, work with people, get the answers as fast as possible, make decisions quickly, um, not let pride or ego get in the way. You got to work with people, and we'll get to where we'll have our solution. As I said in the meeting, I'm committed to keeping our culture that we had before that storm. We talked a lot about the beach school. We talked a lot about other things that are very, very important to myself, as well as I can't speak for the rest of the council. I believe that, you know, none of us want to see, you know, 25-story buildings or 40-story buildings on the beach. That's not where I envision us going. As I said, there's going to be some changes, unfortunately, to the structures. It's just nothing that we could do. That's the hand that we were dealt. But that doesn't mean we can't be proactive in trying to figure out what the new Fort Myers Beach is going to look like. And it starts with the school, as we heard from residents today. It
Hey,
starts
Dan,
with the beach school.
before we get on the school thing, I just want to finish up on the manager thing if I could. So
Sure.
these folks that are coming down from wherever they're coming from, is it now you and Jim Steele will kind of interview them and then bring them to the town council on Monday so they can either approve these folks to run the city, run the town and then at the same time, I'm guessing you're engaging this national search for a new manager, permanent.
Well, I think it's going to have to run. I think news travels fast, and when people know that the town of Fort Myers Beach is looking for a long-term solution to the town manager position, I got to imagine, we probably won't have as many people as we would have had before September 20th, but we will certainly, anyone that's willing to throw their hat in the ring for this position is someone that's not afraid of a challenge. They're not afraid to fight, and that's the people we need right now. So to answer your question, I guess, Ed, directly, is my hope is that they'll be down here in time, to talk with everyone at the M&P meeting on Thursday, introduce
Okay.
themselves, get questions asked, so that when we do get to the meeting on Thursday, council has had their time to ask the questions, and um, be able to really speak to them. That's my hope, is that we can do that as one of the agenda items for the M&P. We also have the LPA that's going to be on there with a joint session with them after that. So my hope is that they can be there, they can answer questions. Everyone can do their vetting, if you will, at that meeting, so that when we get to Monday, we can make a decision one way or another to move forward in whatever direction that's going to be. But that's my hope.
So who initiates the national search? Obviously, there's rules you have to follow, and you got to advertise for it, or maybe you're not. Maybe your plan is to come up with 5 candidates that maybe or so what's the process? Let's say these 2 new folks come in and everybody loves them, and what's the process?
Well, I think
we're having some internet problems again. We might want to.
if these gentlemen are the you're spinning on my screen. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Is it your internet or my internet? I saw you spinning there.
I'm going to call you.
It's mine.
We're going to call you.
Okay.
I don't want to miss any of this, so we're going
to. Yeah. No, it's too important to get us. Definitely. But your questions sometimes are run on, I think. So, yeah. I think you need to be more succinct. Can't believe you're surprised.
There we go. No worries. We have a very reliable Wi-Fi here at the house finally. So yeah. So you were explaining that after these folks, let's just for argument's sake say the town council, at least 4 members love these 2 new folks, and they're going to be in there still. Interim will be their title. And then how do you find somebody permanent?
Well, you have to start a search. So whether there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. I was speaking with town attorney this afternoon about that. There's a lot of different ways that we can do it. You can put out a national search. You can be as simple as putting something out in the local paper. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But I think the interim manager after Mr. Steele, they should get to weigh in on that. These gentlemen, is my understanding, are very well versed in the best practices to do that. And I think you need to listen to them, but it's going to take a search. How we get to that search and vet through however many candidates we're going to get, but it needs to start from day one. That search needs to start sooner than later so that we can get that interim out of the way and make it a long-term solution.
In a perfect world, when do you want to have a permanent replacement for the town manager in place?
In a perfect world, personally, for me, less than 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think.
But that's just me. The sooner that we can get our head wrapped around what we've got left. I mean, we're running out of time here, so we need to maximize on that while conducting a search at the same time, so that these candidates can be brought back to the council. We could go through our policies and procedures, interview the 5 top candidates, and make a decision from there.
I was going to ask now, we've talked a lot. We've had people on from different, like Mexico Beach and Mexico City Beach. We get that wrong every time. Anyways, about a planner, about a city, about someone to plan and help the beach plan going forward, how it's going to be developed and yada, yada, yada. Is that something you're still thinking about? Is that something that this new town manager would do, or is that a separate entity?
Well, so people may remember, we were probably 70, 80% through working on, changes to the current comp plan, talking about, adding things, changing things based on what makes sense now. I don't think we need to start all over on that. I think, if we can continue on that path, but obviously there's going to be some changes because land obviously now has changed in so much, but it's not like we have to start over. We've been working on this for a couple of years, making some changes to the comp plan. We may have to adjust them a little bit, but I don't think we just scrap what we've been working on for 2 years. We can keep that same mentality, apply it to, what we had to deal with now, what land is available now, who's going to own that land now, what are their intentions with that land now, how would it work into what our vision was before the storm, and how can we relate that to where we're at now after the storm.
So Dan, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was Times Square. Do you think there should be like a separate planner or helper?
That's what I was asking.
I know, but I was thinking you were asking for more overall the entire community. I was thinking, should there be one specifically for Times Square? Because you've got so many different landowners there, and you want the thing to be something that the community can get behind too, even though you got all these property owners, but you do own the street. So I mean, you're the mayor now. What's your vision of how you'd like to see that proceed, and how soon can you get something started so it feels like that part of the town is progressing one way or the other?
Well, I think just having the joint meeting with the LPA on Thursday is going to be a good start to that. We haven't been able to hear from them for a month and a half, 2 months. So it'll be interesting to have the open discussion between them and the council to decide. As you said, that's a very, very important part of our island. What can we do? I had conversations tonight with some of the staff about the control line, what dictates that. Is it in the EC zone? Is it a policy decision? Is it not a policy decision? So these are all things that I'm sure we're gonna talk about on Thursday with the LPA to do what we can to get that area going as fast as we can, but not just that area. The entire island needs to be looked at, but it's going to start with vision, I think, and I think that'll start on Thursday.
Okay. So I was somebody sent me a note today that said she went to Lee County with basically just her driver's license and got 3 permits for free. What do you want to see fixed, and how fast you want to see it fixed so people on the beach can feel like they can get permits quickly?
Well, as I've said all along, I'm a big proponent. If someone has the means and they can get started on their property and they have everything in place and they want to start on their property, building, whether it's a new construction or rehabbing, we need to get them that permit as fast as possible. If we need more resources to do that, I'm in favor of doing that. Whatever we need to do to get people to start building. But as I said a few minutes ago, there could potentially be some changes. So if you're in a hurry and you want to get out of the gate, I commend you for that and I welcome that. But you have to be also cognizant of things could change. Things could change in the next 2-3 months or 6 months that you may benefit from, but because you were in a hurry, you didn't benefit from. So everybody's situation is different. Those that want to get going and, like I said, have the means to get going, God bless them. Let's get them a permit as fast as we can. We need to have the people in place to be able to check on, to make sure the progress is being done according to the code. I was told today that there's 10. I met with the IC team right after the meeting. I'm trying to go through my notes here, but I believe they said there were 10 people coming in to help with the enforcement side of it, if you will. Once you receive your permit, making sure that you're building it the way that you're supposed to be building it and not, oops, I went 6 inches over the line. So, you got to be proactive on that stuff. But I'm all for people getting going, and that's something we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to talk to our staff and figure out, how can we assist them? What can we do to help them speed up this process without giving in on what we need to inspect and what we need to check for.
You said there's going to be more people on the enforcement side. Before you said that are there going to be more people helping get those permits through first?
Well, it's my first day with being able to.
Come on, man. What's the holdup? Let's go. Let's go.
It's been a couple hours. Pull it together.
Man.
Yeah, it's going to take out. I gotta be able to talk with the staff and find out, is there anything that we can do policy wise to assist them to speed up the process? Is there a way to speed up the process? A lot of the things, if it's as simple as a new house coming out of the ground that's on a bare lot, that's pretty simple. You should be able to get that permit as quick as within a day or two, in my opinion. I don't know what else you have to review other than, here's your plans, here's my builder, let's move forward. But some other things within the 50-50 rule are going to be a little bit more complicated. Unfortunately, there's going to be some people that think they can cheat the system. But I can tell you what I've learned over the last almost 50 days, that FEMA doesn't let people skate the system. They do check. They will be checking. You may not get caught today. You may not get caught tomorrow, but you're going to get caught. Yeah. And then we're going to be forced as a town to have to be very heavy-handed, and that's to the benefit of everyone on the island. Right. It's not to single out anyone. It's to make sure that we're doing what we're required to do so that people can get insurance on their homes if you have to carry a mortgage.
So Dan, did Heron tell you whether or not the 20% overage on the 50% FEMA deal is solid. And I know it's in your code or in your ordinance. There's an ordinance for it, and then the state stepped in. Do you feel comfortable that the 20% added on to the LIPA number is safe?
Well, I did ask that specific question tonight, and it was towards the end of the night, so it got a little convoluted in my head, to be honest with you. It sounds like there's difference in terminology between assessed value and market value, is what it sounds like to me, based on the letter that was sent out by the state. Now, tomorrow, I'm sure the Lee County Commission is going to discuss this, and maybe we'll be able to get a little bit more clarification as to what exactly that means. But my understanding is, as of right now, we're still moving forward with what we've said all along. This is our ordinance. We're basing the 20% above the assessed value of the building structure only, not the market value. So it seems to be, I'm still trying to work through my own brain, what market and assess and all that means. But, it comes down to the property assessor's office, and well, I'm sure we'll learn more tomorrow as far as clarity, so that we can, hopefully we don't have to do anything. We can move forward with the ordinance that we have. But if we're dictated that we have to change that, then we have to change it. But I don't have that answer for you.
Gotcha.
Today.
So the next topic that's going to be big for the beach is the beach school. You guys started to talk about it a little bit, and it seems like the school district has seen an opportunity, perhaps, that with the school destroyed on Fort Myers Beach and there only being 50 kids, that they might be able to say, okay, we don't need that $2 million expense a year, whatever the number is, and not rebuild the school. And I know the town council doesn't really have anything to do with that because it's a school district thing, but you did show a lot of support. There are parents and teachers out there that are trying to rally the troops. Have you had a chance to talk to anybody at the school district level, and how you feeling about that?
I have not had a chance to talk to anybody at the school district level. I just learned about this a couple of days ago when everybody else did. I was not at the meeting where they alluded to it potentially closing. I have not heard that they officially say it's going to close.
Right.
At least I haven't been told that, but as I said in the meeting, this is that school is part of our culture. It's been here. It's been here a long time. A lot of people have been to that school. It's families come here, as I think you heard from some of the people speaking very passionately today at public comment. It's part of who we are. It's part of, and I believe in our community. And if it comes down to a dollars and cents thing, I have no doubt in my mind that this community will step up and figure out a way to bridge that gap. If that's what it seriously is, I firmly stand behind everyone at the school. I want to see the school stay, and I'll do anything I can do to help assist in that. So, we'll go to the meeting, and we'll make it be known that we stand behind them, and we'll go from there. But I want them to know that don't give up on this community. Don't give up on the people here. They're very passionate, and one thing I've learned is when people get passionate on this island about something, there's no stopping them. So give us a chance. Give us a chance to show you that if it comes down to numbers and dollars and cents for you, give us a chance to figure out a way to work through that. Don't just close the book on us, so to speak, so that you can move on to the next thing. We're gonna put up a fight.
I have to correct Ed. It's more than 50. And
I'm sorry.
Marcia's
what was
saying
the total
85.
number? 85. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I thought I heard somebody say 50 the other night when we were at the bistro.
No. So
anyway,
are you planning them?
I've heard that number 50, and then I've also heard 100 is where it needs to be to make it financially viable. And I can tell you, Mayor Smith from Sanibel has been a great resource for me to talk to about. We're in this together, as she said today. We got to stand shoulder to shoulder under this. We are the beaches of Fort Myers in Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach in Sanibel, and we'll get through this together. We'll work together to make sure that we can help each other as best we can to show that, we may be small communities, but we're mighty.
Are you going to the meeting then, did you say? The school district meeting?
I plan on being there, yes.
Okay.
So do you remember what Chris Patrica said at the town council meeting that was at Skip One?
I don't remember word for word, no.
I do remember her saying that school will reopen, whether it was rebuilt or fixed or the whatever the solution was. I mean, we can go back and pull the tape out, but I do remember her pretty much committing that the school district was going to be behind fixing that school one way or the other. And then I texted her last week when I heard all this going on Friday night when we all saw each other. And she said, she said, all options are being considered for all three schools that were heavily damaged: Beach, Sanibel, and Cafarata.
Yeah, Hector Cafarata.
And absolutely no decisions have been made. So that's not as solid as a commitment as we heard when we were at the town council meeting, but it's also doesn't sound like it's a solid decision to close it.
Well, and I think that that's a very valid point. There's been no decision to close it or reopen it. So to me, that means the door is still open. The discussion can still be had. And, right now it's the power of the people. We need to voice our opinions. We need to voice our concerns. We need to show our support and see what we can get done. The town of Fort Myers Beach Council does not have a say in that vote, but that doesn't mean that we can't put our voices out there and show how much it means to the community.
There is a organizational meeting on Wednesday night at 6:00 at the Skip One building. If you're a parent or you're a teacher or you're somebody that went to the school or you're somebody that wants to be part of the school district rally, which is November the 22nd, then you should attend, if you can, the Save the Beach organizational meeting on Wednesday night of this week at 6:00. And everyone's going to talk about what the plan is. There is power in numbers, and there needs to be more than 3 people that go to a school board meeting and say, save the school. It really needs to be the teachers and the parents and the kids. You need to have the kids up there and talking about the school as much as they can, and just monopolize the time as much as you can at the school board meeting on November 22nd. And that's, that will go a long way to helping those school district members. And don't forget too, that the school superintendent is now an elected position, and you have a lot of power down there to elect people or not elect people. So don't forget that's part of the whole equation now, where it wasn't up until election day last week. So important stuff with the school. It's like one issue after another down there. It just can't we just can't deal with a catastrophic hurricane. It's got to be so many other layers of it on top.
Wow.
Yeah, it certainly, I mean, I had an entire day of trying to get kind of caught up to speed on a lot of the stuff that maybe I knew, but I didn't know all of it. And there's a lot of stuff out there. Today was the first day I actually was on the beach, drove down the beach with Glenn, I forget his name, sorry, but Glenn is his name, and he's from FDEM. He's their rep that's been here since I think the second week after the storm, and got to see exactly how much debris was actually still on the beach and how unsafe the beach really is. Today was the first day that I actually was able to go up and down the entire beach on the beach itself. And I hear what the residents were saying today about getting the beach open and working on that. I was told today that we should start seeing progress on getting the beach cleaned by, the first part of next week. You should start seeing some improvements to that debris cleanup. So that's encouraging to know that we're going to start to see that, because the sooner we can get that cleaned up, the sooner we can get sand returned to the beach accesses, the sooner that we can get, the beach back to where we can get out there and enjoy it again. So that was positive news. I think that came out of my discussions today, that the beach cleanup is coming. It's coming very quickly. It's coming soon. It's going to take time like anything else, but there's a lot of stuff out there. I saw refrigerators. I saw boards with nails. I saw
when I was out there a couple weeks ago, there was a dock. Somebody's dock was out there. A section of somebody's dock was in front of
Who's responsible to clean it up, Dan? Is it the town, or is it the town and the state, or is it the county that has to do it in Lynn Hole Park? Is it everybody?
So it's my understanding as of today that the state is going to be taking that over with Crowder Golf.
Cool.
To clean up the beach. One thing I did hear today that I did not know, that I think is very important that people may want to know, is, the switch over from Crowder Golf to where the state is now going to take over the debris cleanup is going to happen on the 16th. I did receive a call the other day about a contractor that's working under the state's contract to clean up the private property debris removal and the commercial property debris removal. That is, and I did not know this, but I think it's important that people know, that is for them to clean up your property. That is not for them to demolish your house.
Okay.
So if you have 4 walls, 2 wall, if you have a house, walls and a roof, they will come out and they'll clean the property, but it takes, part of the process. It's under the same contract and it will be done, but it may not happen at the same time. So they may come in and remove the debris from your yard, but maybe they won't remove the house.
Okay.
That may come a little bit later. So I think it's clear that people understand that.
Will they know? Will the people know? Okay, these people aren't coming to knock your house down. They're coming just to clean up the debris. How will they know?
Well, my understanding is that they'll reach out and contact you. They're not just going to show up one day but I'll get some more clarification on that tomorrow. There was a lot of information that came my way today, and I did my best to take as many notes. And I don't want to say something that isn't my understanding of what I heard. So we have a meeting again tomorrow at 8:30. I'll be able to ask more questions, get more answers, a little more detail. Today was really about Jim Steele and I getting as caught up as possible to what has been going on, where we're at, what still needs to be done. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of information.
Sure. Yeah. And just so for people to know, there was no transition in any way. Like, you were cut out of the loop until today. People saw the handwriting on the wall that there was going to be a change, but there was still no, let's let Dan in on some of these things. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but you're jumped into the pool in both.
Well, it's difficult. You can't have 2 council members in the same area at the same time when decisions are being made. That's a
right.
You can't have, it's a violation. You can't do that. So it's not that I don't think that I was myself or any other council member was excluded on purpose. It was, if decisions are being made and directions being given, we can't have 2 of us there. Right. Anything that comes before council, we can discuss it.
Right.
The issue I was having is that some of the decisions weren't being brought before council. They weren't being brought to council to make the decision. Decisions were being made without council, but it was the council that was being either credited or discredited for making a decision. And that is where my displeasure, if you will, came in. There's decisions I think that all 5 members should be involved in, as well as the public, so that we have as Councilor Veach said today, transparency, so that people understand what's going on. And that's where I was having the biggest issue. It was hard to answer people's questions when you didn't know the answer to the question or able to get the answer to the question. And hopefully we can start getting some of those and getting them faster. And I'll do the best I can to get it out and answer any question as fast as I can.
Well, I did want to clear up one thing that I thought was a little bit on the incorrect side. When Councilman Veach, said that he didn't feel like things were being transparent, and I was yelling at the screen saying they haven't been transparent up until today, and now they're starting to be transparent. But you can't expect everything to happen in one day, where you know exactly who the interim town manager is going to be, and then there's a long list of possible long-term managers. I mean, geez, you or at least some of us felt like there was no information getting out there. And I don't want to harp on the past, but I just want you to let people know that you're going to be transparent, and that's not the road you're going down.
Well, again, you can't go backwards. All we can do is go forward. I think, we made a decision today. We're going to move forward. For good or bad, we're going to move forward, but it's going to involve people making decisions, all people making decisions, in my opinion, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It's going to take all of us to make decisions. And I think that's the best way forward. I think if we do that, we're all not going to agree all the time, and that's fine. But if we could do it, amicably, and we can agree to disagree sometimes, and you just keep moving forward, right. We all lost everything. And we all have stories. We've all heard stories. The time for stories, in my opinion, are over. Now it's time to get to work. It's time to roll up your sleeves, grab the shovel, put your boots on, and let's go. What are we going to be 1 year from now? What are we going to be 2 years from now? What do we want to be 3 years from now? What are we going to be? At what point is it going to be when we look back at this and go, remember when?
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now.
Let's pop a question up here real quick from Lori. We have been told the state debris removal will not pay for commercial property that has been demolished. Is that true?
So if you've demolished your own commercial property, hold on, I want to write it down so I can make sure I can get the answer because I don't know that. But
We've been
if
told
you
this
remove, if you've demolished your own commercial property,
right, will that be removed by the state? Good question, Lori. I had the bell out.
Well, I can tell you one part of
Will
that.
not pay for it.
If it's pushed, are you asking will it get paid for if you demolished it on your own dollar, or will it get picked up? I guess I'm not exactly
I
sure.
guess if you push it out to the, if you do push it out to the,
if you push it to the right of way, it will be picked up.
right.
But if you tore down the commercial building yourself, it's going to be between your insurance company and yourself.
Right.
I think is what maybe their question was,
Yeah.
but I can get clarification
All
on
right.
that.
Cool. Anything, dear?
No, there's a lot of questions, but
Yeah. Well,
if you want to keep going, let's answer some questions.
so somebody is
that's what we're here
saying, can you speed up FPL? You have any pull
for.
there?
So I had that was one of the first things I had a conversation with the IC team today was,
What is
these
that
guys
team?
are,
Refresh
it's the incident command team.
Okay.
They're the ones that are in that trailer that were right outside the jet out trailer. So they have meetings every morning at 8:30, and their job is to, what direction do they need? What can we work on? And one of the things I wanted to ask them about is how can we work on, we're only going to have them until next Monday.
oh, okay.
After Monday, they're gone. So what can we do over the next week to, I was one of the people that was involved in that. Things get lost. The town staff sends it to FPL. FPL loses it or doesn't get it. Or, there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar, if you will.
Mhm.
But there's no follow-up process once things are sent. Everything's documented. Obviously, when the town sends something to FPL, it's documented when they send it. But what happens is there's no follow-up. In my opinion, there's no follow-up. There's nobody saying, okay, did this get followed through on? Did we get these people on the list? Did we not get them on the list? Who's on the list? So I asked them if that was something that we could do to help alleviate time with staff having to answer and with town council having to answer. I've had my stuff in for 2 weeks. Why don't I have power? So I asked them if that was something that they could take on, if someone could be the liaison for that, someone that can, check every day, what permit, what's been sent to you, what hasn't, what's the schedule, what's not the schedule. So we're going to continue. Mayor Murphy was doing those daily videos. We're going to continue those on because I think they're very helpful. They're very informative. One of the things that I want to see added to that, and I asked them that if we could do this, is if we can get a list, and I won't know that we'll be able to do it for sure, but one of the things I want to do is tomorrow, if we can start the process of getting a list from FPL, who's on the list, what address is on the list for the day or the next day, so that people can get the information to know that they're coming or they're not coming if they're not on the list, and try to do that every day as part of the update.
So who's going to be doing, you're going to be doing the updates?
I'll be doing the updates. Yeah,
And
probably starting tomorrow.
What time?
I don't have that yet. I'll let you know as soon as I know what time it's going to be. We got a meeting at 8:30, then we got another meeting at 10:30. So I don't know. I'm hoping it's going to be the same time every day. That was one of the things so that everybody could be aware of when it's going to start. Schedules dictate, but we've only got these guys for a week. So tomorrow morning we'll be able to ask more questions and try to get some more answers. But like I said, there was a lot of information today. I've got pages of notes I'm trying to process and taking notes on things that I'm thinking about I should ask again. So
right. Well, the reason I
get
ask
updates, I'll let you know.
The reason I ask about the updates is maybe now we can share them with our audience. If we know when they are, we could rebroadcast them to our audience too. So there's a bigger. I have no idea what size the other audience was, but more people won't hurt.
No, when I know, you guys will know.
Cool.
I want the more people can know, whoever wants to broadcast it, whoever wants to be there to video it,
great.
Bring it on, because one thing I've learned over the last 47 days is social media is pretty powerful, one friend has another friend, and it gets pushed out there very quickly. So the faster we can get information out, the faster people have less questions. The faster we can make progress on things that we talked about Times Square making decisions on comp plan issues, things like that, when we don't have to answer questions. When is the power going to come on? Because they'll know when their power is going to be on, or they know they're on the list. I think if we can alleviate some of the questions that can bog us down,
Yep.
the faster we can get to making decisions that are going to push us forward.
Which one do you want me to ask, dear?
The second one he asked.
All right.
That one.
This might be
is
too
a
early for
question
this. Go
about,
ahead.
the intention of the setbacks. Remember when they changed the setbacks for the mega houses on multiple lots, but it was applied to all the lots. And so, is there an idea that might get changed?
Well,
Because it hurts small lots.
It does. See, I think that's where there's a little bit of confusion. So the average lot width is 50 feet. Is what we've been told. The average lot width on Fort Myers Beach of the platted lots is 50 feet. So in the presentation that was presented to us that we approved, they presented and it was voted on and approved that the best course of action was 15%, which would still keep you at that 7.5 foot setback, side setback. Now, if you combine two of them and you go to 100, that's where you no longer have your 7.5 foot setback. So most people, the side setback, if you have a single lot, it's not going to affect you tremendously. Now, that's not saying that there's not one-offs. I'm not saying that. But is that something we'll look at? I don't know. That's maybe something we can discuss on Thursday when we're with the LPA. But I think there's a misunderstanding out there that, because you have a small lot that you are now being penalized. And if you have a 50-foot lot, you're still at 7.5 foot, which is what it was before.
That's a whole show, that whole setback thing. But
that's like the 50%.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, do you know
Right.
what the rules are, the code, if you do not meet the 50% FEMA rule and you have to build up, how high does a house have to go up?
I don't know that yet. It's going to be different on the island.
Okay.
Obviously different. There's different heights on the island. I've heard anywhere from 10 feet to potentially 20 feet.
Wow.
So it's going to be whatever the requirements are plus 1 foot.
Do you think the conversation
we don't know that yet.
Do you think the conversation about that seawall that TPI wanted to build should be brought up again?
I would certainly like to see it. I mean, I think that if that would have been there, of all the things that I think really would have helped the town in this, and I think as Tom Torgerson said on your show, that it wouldn't have stopped the flooding, but it certainly would have minimized the wave velocity of the impact.
Yeah.
It could have saved the structures. The contents would have been gone, but I have not been to Clearwater Beach, but that was the reference that was made that they have it there and you wouldn't even know it's there. I think that's a perfect thing that we should be talking about. If there's a way that we can implement that, how would it be paid for? What would it, where would it be? I think that's something that the town should certainly look at. It's just think if that would have been in place, we wouldn't be talking about what's Times Square going to look like. Well, Times Square is going to look like what Times Square looked like, just with new furniture and new appliances and new paint. So it's things like that sometimes I think people can get too caught up in visual and not, things you don't see. The things that you don't, as a former contractor, it's the things that you don't see. Like nobody ever notices the framer. They only notice, or the concrete guy. They only notice the tile guy or the cabinet guy or the shower fixture guy. They don't notice the framer, and that's kind of what this wall, in my mind, it was something that was protecting the home, so that you could have the nice things that are past that, right?
Right.
So it's sometimes when you see these proposals and these things, you have to try to look through it. You have to try to look past. Cosmetic things can always be changed. That's easy, but the foundation is what is important. So we got to look at whatever we can to protect what is going to be the new Fort Myers Beach.
All right, Dan. Well, we could probably sit here for hours and take questions, but we know you've probably had a long day, and we appreciate your time, and we know you'll come back because you always do. And so,
and that you're available to answer questions. You can't answer them all tonight, but you'll get to them, and as you can. as we can.
Yeah. And so
That's
when
right.
you find out,
one day at a time.
when you find out about the updates, we'll be happy to rebroadcast them as much as we can when when we're around, and the more the merrier. And we appreciate the relationship with you and the town council members, and we look forward to continuing it for a long time.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for being a platform for us to get some information out. Look forward to moving forward and continuing to get it out, and tell your people to compile their questions. And if we just have to do a question and answer session, then that's
Great.
what we'll do. But I can't promise you I'll have the answer every time, but I promise you that I'll do my best to get you the answer.
Thanks a
Sounds
lot,
good.
Dan. Have a great night, and
All right.
say thank you to Megan too for all the work she's about to put in.
She's put up with me this long, and I'm not sleeping with the dog, so
All
far, I feel
right.
good.
It's only been one day, Dan.
The mayor of Fort Myers Beach, everybody, Dan Allers. Great night. Have a great night. Bye-bye. All right, folks. By the way, if you want to send a question to me, I'll formulate a list of the
I was
questions.
just gonna suggest that, and then I just could hear you go. Now this is one more thing.
No. Things are starting
do.
to slow down a little bit. If you want to send questions to Ed Ryan, the editor at gmail.com, I'll weed out the ones that are repetitive, and we'll put a list of questions together, and maybe one night we'll just have Dan on and shoot the questions at him, or let him know what the questions are in advance.
Yeah.
So he could get the answers.
And then we'll start the timer like we did.
No, cut it out. So I did want to talk real quick before we hang up about
my.
the Sunshine Law, because it's there. Megan was going back and forth with somebody who was asking about it. The Sunshine Law is like one of the most important laws in Florida. It's the greatest law in Florida, and it's the strictest Sunshine Law as far as I can see anywhere in the country. You have to conduct public business in the sunshine in Florida. You saw the sausage being made today when they were talking about Roger's contract, and he was sitting right there. And they do that on purpose. They do that because they don't want any municipality to go into an executive session and talk about things where the public dollars are being used, and those contracts are all about public dollars. And so the way the Sunshine Law is that you might be out at Bayfront Bistro or Wahoo Willie's and see Dan and Jim supporting local businesses, or John and Karen now, and they're allowed to be there. They're allowed to talk about personal things and things that have nothing to do with
anything that
decisions.
might be for the town.
Now that we saw that a few years ago when the picture was taken in the whale, that sometimes the state will rule that that's not a violation of the Sunshine Law, but they're not supposed to. Two members are not supposed to commit about some piece of business that they might vote on. And if they do, there's an the state ethics committee or commission that you have to file a complaint with, and they go through the whole process, and they hear the issue out, and then they decide whether it was a violation. That's all it is. It's not like you're going to jail or anything like that for violating the Sunshine Law, but it's about trust. It's about trusting that they're doing the public's business in front of the public. So they do try and avoid speaking to each other, just for the fact that it might look like somebody might say, well, those guys are talking about business. So but there are bound to be events that are going on in a small community where they're all gathered at the same time. So the Sunshine Law, I think, is the greatest thing. And I know sometimes it frustrates some elected officials because they can't talk about anything, but tough toenails on that one. It's just good for the people. So I did want to chime in on that. It is one of the greatest laws ever created. I did want to say thank you to the Unity of Fort Myers Incorporated. I have no idea where this check for $550.56 came from or why. Well, I do know it's part of the fund for the employees. It's going to be deposited into the FMB rebuild account, but it says September tithes, week 3, Hurricane Ian donation. So it looks like it's from a church that sent what they collected to the fund for Fort Myers Beach. And so we'll deposit it in there and make it part of the employee fund.
Really
if you missed the early part of the show, we are up to $100,500 has been distributed to employees so far. And our goal, of course, is to get that to 155 as quickly as possible. We're sending out checks every day, and that'll match the 155 that we gave to the Women's Club and the Community Foundation you gave as part of the 33931 fund. And there's probably going to be more than 155 because of the shirt proceeds. As the shirts keep selling, and we're over 1,200 or 1,500 shirts now that we've paused so we can get caught up on it.
We need to get to 1 million.
1 million shirts.
Mhm.
By the way, we have 70,000 followers now. That the number went up to 70,000 earlier today. So that's enough for tonight, folks. We are going to be at Margaritas. Well, I'm going to be at Margaritas because you're not going to be here.
And you're going to be at the Man Caves. And you're going to be at Wahoo Willie's.
So and I do have some folks that have said they'd sit in and co-host. We have the conservative aunt. I didn't know who that really was until Jacinta,
nice guy.
JJ, and Jason told us about him. He's going to be co-hosting the Friday night Margaritas show. And we're working on some folks sitting in on Saturday. And don't forget, the Save the Beach organizational meeting is Wednesday at 6:00 at the Skip One building. That's it for us for tonight. We'll be back Friday night with another exciting episode of the #1 radio show in all of Fort Myers Beach. Bye-bye.